Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be revealing my big four past salaries. So what I made as a tax associate and tax senior, and on top of that, I'm going to be sharing with you guys 6 money lessons that I learned in my 20s. So if you guys want to see more videos like this, definitely give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to hit subscribe. So without further ado, let's get started with the video. So I just wanted to let you know that the numbers I'm about to share is the gross amount, so it doesn't take into account any taxes. And on top of that, there's no benefits included and no bonuses in these amounts. So I definitely wanted to give you guys a heads up on that. Also, this is for educational purposes only. As you guys know, in the first video that I made about salary, there are ways where you can find the potential salary for your particular state that you live in, as well as the type of job that you're looking for. So for mine in particular, I worked at Big Four as a tax associate and senior, and I'm going to be sharing with you guys the numbers from there. So let's start off with the first salary that I got, which you probably already know from my first video, but that was $59K. And that was my starting salary. So this was year one as a tax associate, and I started in November of 2015. So the very first tip that I want to share with you guys is to create a cash flow statement for yourself. So you know how companies, they have their own cash flow statement, so they know how much cash they have on hand. For me, I did that on a personal level. And I learned this actually in my personal finance class that I took in college. So what I do is I track my cash inflows and outflows, and I want to see what money comes in and how I'm going to spend that money. This allowed me to know how much money I had to pay off my loans, to start investing or saving, and also how much I needed to spend on my needs. Then the money that was left over was what I was able to spend. So having a cash flow statement was super helpful for me, especially when I was starting off, because no one is going to be the one managing your money besides you. So definitely take the initiative to figure out how much money you're making and making sure that you're using your money wisely. And it's really helpful. I still use it today, years later, and has helped me tremendously throughout my whole financial journey. So that's one thing that I wanted to note, and the very first lesson that I wanted to share with you guys. And I will leave it in the description box if you guys are interested. In 2016, it was my second year as an associate, and this is how much I got paid. Now, this is around the time when I got serious about paying my loans, and that leads to lesson number 2 that I learned in my 20s, was to start paying off my student loans quickly. If you guys have student loans, you guys know how crazy the interest rates are, and I definitely did not want to pay very high interest rates, so that's why I decided to prepay my loans. Definitely double check to make sure that there are no penalties for prepaying your loan, but for me there was not, and so that's the approach that I took. I try to pay off my loans as soon as possible because I had really high interest rates on those loans. I remember back in 2015 and 16, a lot of my friends on Instagram, they would post traveling photos, they would be doing all of these lavish experiences, but what I decided to do was I wanted to withhold from that and decided to just start paying off my loans right away because I knew that that was a high priority for me. So that's when I really wanted to focus on paying off my loans, and I knew that it took sacrifices in order to reach my goals. So in 2017, as a third-year associate, this is how much I got paid. This is also when I received my CPA license. And the lesson number 3 that I wanted to share with you guys is to avoid lifestyle inflation. So that's when, as your paycheck goes up, your lifestyle follows right after, and you end up spending more and more in order to maintain an elevated lifestyle than you had previously. Now, for me, I didn't grow up with a lot of money, so I was very content with what I had. So my spending stayed basically the same, even though my salary was increasing. So this is when I saw a lot of my colleagues upgrade their car. They would buy luxury vehicles, and I was very close of doing that too until I realized that like those vehicle equals my salary. So I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. When I got my first car, it was a brand new Toyota Camry. And within 2 or 3 years, I'm like, oh, so what car should I get next? And it's like, no, we're not doing that. This car gets you from point A to point B and you're fine. You don't need a new car. So I just wanted to let you guys know that there were times where I had to debate and really make sure that I wasn't buying something that I pretty much couldn't afford because that was the price of my salary, and I wasn't going to make my salary be something that I just drive and depreciates really quickly. So that was just from my point of view, and that's why I didn't want to spend lavishly. I also want to share with you guys tip number 4, and that was to invest early. If you guys know the time value of money, the sooner you invest, the better. And if you guys know anything about compounding interest, basically you will get interest on the principal plus the interest you already accumulated, and it just continues to grow. So knowing that, that's when I started to invest and become really serious. Now that I had my loans paid off, I had my emergency fund, that's when I was focusing on investing my money. In 2018, this is how much I was making, and let me tell you about the money lesson that I learned here. And this was really for me to focus on advocating for myself and my own salary, as well as trying to figure out what I wanted in my profession and whether or not it was worth pursuing what I was doing. So this is around the time where, yes, I actually did talk to my colleagues to see what they were making to make sure that I wasn't being underpaid. As someone who is a female minority, I definitely wanted to make sure that I was getting paid what I was worth. And I know that not everyone has that relationship with their colleagues, but I personally did. Now, there was this one time when I was talking to my male colleague from a different team, and he asked me how much I was making, and I told him because around that time, that's when I was deciding maybe I should leave to a different firm. And so I just let him know what my salary was, and this is his response.
He was like, "Oh, you're making the same amount of money as me? How?"
Like I say in a lot of my videos, when I hear those things, it only motivates me further. So I didn't really take huge offense to it, but basically you want to make sure that you are getting paid what you are worth, and definitely doing some research about that. And this is around the time where I was really evaluating my work-life balance. As you guys seen in many of my videos, I talk about this a lot. This was around the time where I was weighing not just money as a factor, but also the quality of life as well. So that was another lesson that I learned around this time. Lastly, this is the last salary that I received before leaving Big Four, and here's the number here. And this is around a time where I really understood that giving is very important. I personally believe that if you don't know how to give to others along the way as you build wealth, then it's just going to be a lot harder to do when you're at the very top. I do want to say that this is when I realized money in itself is a resource, and it's also a gift. And so I always felt like this money is not just for me, but also to benefit and help others. It doesn't mean like you get money, you know, exercise your wisdom, but it also doesn't mean to just hoard that money for yourself. And also, I know it might be hard, but that's just my tidbit and my money lesson that I learned as I was on my financial journey. So that concludes this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys want to see part 3 where I go over my tax manager's salary, let me know and I will try my best to create that for you guys. And if you guys aren't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye guys!